I'll start about safe, convenient, and hands-on at-home chemistry experiments. So I don't know if you've heard in the recent news, but there's this university bookstore worker who's sold $20,000 worth of textbook. And this savvy teacher who said, "Oh man, I hope to recover both of these books." Student material can be very pricey. And the goal of today's talk, short talk, is to show you a bunch of free stuff that I've designed with some colleagues. So before the pandemic, we created experimental videos. We had some pre-lab videos for general chemistry, chemistry solution, and organic chemistry. All these videos are fully available on the Dawson College Chemistry YouTube channel. Although videos are nice during a pandemic, they don't help us getting hands-on experience. We want our students, even though there is self-isolation and homeschooling, we want our students to be able to read a protocol, assemble materials, carry out an experiment, and use their own data to write a lab report. So together, we create the CLAW, which stands for Chemistry Laboratory Alternative Workload. And together, we created 8 at-home, hands-on experiments that students could do. The first 5 deal more with chemistry of solutions, while the last 3 deal with organic chemistry. Each protocol includes your typical objectives, introduction, material procedure, and a bunch of different photos illustrating the important steps. Help for calculation and data analysis is also provided. The data sheets are readily printable for students, and there are a couple of troubleshooting suggestions. All these lab reports can be found on the SALTES website. SALTES stands for Supporting Active Learning and Technological Innovation in Studies of Education. It's a website that gives you lots of resources. But if ever you want to find these protocols, you could go into Resource and Active Learning, or simply in the search toolbar, write the CLAW. So let's look at an example of a quantitative experiment. So I've chosen to show you the rate law in chemical kinetics using blue food dye. So the goal of this experiment is to demonstrate how the rate law and the rate constant can be determined from a reaction. The reaction we chose is adding blue food dye to bleach. As you add blue food dye to bleach, the solution becomes slowly transparent. So what would be the material that a student needs? Water, bleach, food dye. They all have that at home. What's the instrument that they're using? We're using cooking instruments, so a measuring cup or a teaspoon. I know a teaspoon in the US, Canada, and Britain is different, but as long as it's the same teaspoon throughout the experiments, no problem will arise. The key component here for this lab was the thermometer. The decision had to be made. At Dawson, we have over 1,000 students each semester taking chemistry. So if the department was to lend thermometers, that could be a determining factor in the way that after the pandemic, we would have 1,000 thermometers, but also it was hard to juggle them around. So we took the decision to have the students buy their own thermometer. They could use thermometers from kitchen thermometers, that'd be no problem. Or they could buy it at the bookstore. Another important component was the smartphone. If a student did not have a smartphone, they could use the data from their teammate. But we realized that every single student had a smartphone. So there's the experiment. What you need to do is you need to download a free app that detects colors. There's plenty of those. The idea was to determine RGB reading. So RGB stands for red, green, and blue. You need to have a bleach bottle that gave you the concentration, red construction paper, and a transparent drinking glass. What you need to do is you need to set up your cell phone over the small drinking glass, and you want the camera of your cell phone to point at the red construction paper. Whenever you turn on the live view of the app, you have 3 values. There's 3 numbers. The first value corresponds to the red, and that's what we care about. So the way you set it up, you have a tall drinking glass to set up your phone. The camera of your phone is pointing down at a solution. In this solution, we use half a cup of water, 1 teaspoon of bleach, and when you're ready, you start your timer, add the drop of blue food coloring, and start mixing. You record the value after every 30 seconds until the solution becomes transparent. You can repeat this experiment as many times as you want. If you want to repeat the procedure varying a couple of conditions, you could change the quantity of bleach or change the temperature, you get different results. Overall, your students get data, they're able to perform calculation, they're able to plot some graphs, they're able to determine the rate constant and the rate law and write a lab report. We ask all our students to take a selfie after every step, so that way we are sure that they are actually performing these experiments. Overall, this is a great way to get students to manipulate during COVID time. There are no full labs kits necessary because all these materials could be obtained by the students themselves. And these procedures may still be used after the pandemic as makeup experiments or for student project. Shameless plug, Salties is having a conference next week. It's free, it's online on June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. If ever you want to learn more, don't be shy to ask me. Thank you very much. Sorry for taking a few seconds extra.